Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name is Dennis Zen. I'm here with
Josh Weyers.
yes, all the way in South Africa. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing cold. Doing cold.
Yeah,
It's pretty cold out here. Pretty hot out in LA. I kind of miss that about LA. But no, things are going well here. I don't think I mentioned it last week, but we're finally in level 2. So, oh wait, I did mention it. Yeah. So alcohol and tobacco sales are back. The bars are opened up again. Dude, people went crazy the first week when the bars opened up. Like so much so that the city's thinking maybe we should roll back on this whole idea of opening up the bars again. That was
they
a
should
bad
have not.
idea.
Well, I mean, they should have closed the bars. They just shouldn't have closed the sale of alcohol. I think that was
I agree. Yeah.
just let people drink at home. There's nothing wrong with that. Bars is because you don't want the social, infecting other people. Where where drinking at home, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I'm doing good.
Cool. Well, yeah, it's weird because it's really hot here in LA, and normally that's fine, except for with the pandemic, there's nowhere to go. Usually, when it's hot, you go to the beach, you go maybe to a restaurant that has a beach view, or you go outside, you go to a movie theater, and catch some AC. But instead, you're just sitting at home and just roasting, and with nothing to do. So, but the one thing you can do is play a lot of video games, and there's been a lot of news this past week because we had our podcast last Friday, but DC Fandom was that next day on Saturday, and so me and Dorian did reviews of the two big trailers that came out, the Gotham Knights game and also the Suicide Squad game as well. So I'll let you go first. What's your initial reaction to the Gotham Knights trailer and the gameplay footage and the whole reveal?
Dude, I'm excited. Like I think everybody is. I that day I saw so many people on Facebook just posting how excited they are about this game, for purely based off of the fact that we're getting an Arkham game that is like it's new to the franchise. You know what I mean? It's like it's an Arkham style game, but it's not building off of
Part
the
of the
existing
part of the universe.
storyline. You know what I mean? I think it's a new storyline they're going for. But dude, you get to play as the Bat Family, which is that's amazing. I'm so excited for this. The cutscenes look amazing. I mean, these obviously they're not in-game footage, but the cutscenes themselves, like the graphics looks great. From the gameplay looks really fun. Obviously, I can't talk much about the graphics there because we're looking at early alpha footage. But I like it, and it's co-op. It's a game that you can play single player and you can play it co-op with a friend. I think it's a win. You know what I mean? It's going to be a win for sure. There's nothing bad about this whatsoever. I mean, they're even like teasing a bit of the Court of Owls thing that I remember Caboose has been talking about for a while.
Yeah.
Dude, everyone I know who's been playing any of the Arkham games they're so excited for this, myself
Yeah,
included.
yeah, it's funny because I had mentioned about because I've played the Arkham games, but not all of them, and I haven't finished them. So to me, like I was like, oh, I didn't say it was another Arkham game, but I just thought it was part of the family. But people got mad because they're like, oh no, it's not an Arkham game. So it's
Yeah.
not part of that universe, which is weird because the Suicide Squad one is because it's made by Rocksteady. This is not. It's its own separate universe. In this one, Batman is dead in the beginning, which we know he's not dead.
I would say, is he though? Is he?
Yeah, yeah. He'll show up towards the end of it. Whether he'll be playable or not is a whole different subject. Court of Owls, which I was a fan of the storyline in the comic books, that has been teased for a while. Getting to see that co-op, that's something that even the Avengers game, which is coming out soon, doesn't have. I mean, they have co-op play in terms of these side missions, but not for the main campaign, and that's cool. I was reading also that you can co-op with the same player. Like you have two Robins, two Batgirls, and all that stuff. It's an open world, no level gating. It just sounds all in all like a nice progression from what we're used to from this style of game. And maybe WB Montreal wanted to go kind of do their own thing.
it was good to see that they like sprinkled in a bit of RPG mechanics to it, which is not something you're expecting from like a third person action brawler type game. You know what I mean? You're expecting this like hack and slash type of combat, well, like a brawler type of combat. You know what I mean? And it's cool because you're as they're walking around, we can see like the levels displayed above each like enemy NPC's head, so you know what kind of fight you're getting yourself into. They say that there's a lot of customization in terms of like your gear, like the weapons you use, the suits you use, and they have like what I liked about it is that they said that because there is that RPG aspect of your suit and like getting different parts and different like armor pieces, rather than it looking like some kind of weird amalgamation of things when you're putting on different bits of armor, they have an option where you can stylize it, which is kind of like a skin, if you will. You can stylize it to a certain way so that whatever you are wearing, you can always kind of make it look like it works together, you know, and you can kind of make your own style. So it seems like there's quite a bit of customization options, which I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping to find out more about the Red Hood because I know very little about the Red Hood. I've only heard of him through
Okay.
conversation of friends and like talking about DC because comic books weren't really that big of a thing in South Africa. I only really like started experiencing the comic universe going to America. So I'm looking forward to finding out about the Red Hood because when I saw that I was like in the trailer, I'm just seeing this like red Batman going around with guns. I was like, "What? there's a
Did you
Batman
want to
that uses
know about him?
guns?"
You want
I
to
mean,
know about him?
I do, but I feel like I'm gonna find out through the video game. You know what I mean? Was it
Okay.
because they classify him as an anti-hero, so I'm looking forward to
Well,
that.
he's an ex-Robin. He was a Robin that was killed.
Oh, whoa,
So
that's true.
The first Robin is now Nightwing.
Yeah, that's Dick Grayson,
Dick
right?
Grayson.
Yeah.
And the second Robin was Jason Todd, and then the Joker killed him in the comic books a long time ago. And then
Oh,
you,
wow.
yeah, and
I
then
yeah, I
I
remember
don't know
that.
what the how long after, maybe 10, 20 years later, they're like, let's bring him back. And there was this character called the Red Hood, and they didn't know who he was, and he was, attacking Batman or whatever. And then it was found out to be, oh, it's Jason Todd, who we thought was dead from before. And then I guess they came to a point where it's like, okay, he's not like a bad villain. He just, was upset at Batman because he felt like Batman had abandoned him, but now he's kind of not, yeah, more of an anti-hero than a good guy, but not a villain. So that's kind of his backstory.
Yeah. I like how each because there's obviously four characters. It's worth mentioning. There's four characters you can play as, which is Batgirl, Robin, Nightwing, and Red Hood. Um, and I like how they're all very different in terms of like play style and combat style. You know what I mean? Like we saw it in the co-op gameplay they showed off with Robin and Batgirl, where it's like Robin has this like thing where he's teleporting around because he's using the Justice League's teleportation system, and then Batgirl has more like traditional like Batman fighting kind of techniques. So I do like how they all have their own thing. And it's interesting that they decided to go with the two-player co-op option. You know what I mean? And I was reading into why they did that, and it actually makes sense. And I have a lot of like respect for them for doing this because if they did decide to go with a four-person co-op mode, it becomes too much of like a. There's only so many things you can do with a four-person co-op mode. You know what I mean? You're going to be doing waves of enemies, for instance. You're going to be fighting in big open areas. It's a lot easier for them to like create a more linear experience for us with a two-player co-op. You know what I mean? And the way people can just drop in and out, like I like that. Like in the trailer, in the gameplay trailer, they showed like as you're playing as Batgirl, in the top right
Mhm.
of the screen, it shows like Robin just dropped in, and I was like, oh, that's so sick. So if your friends are online, they can just drop in, join your mission, play around with you. And then you can play offline single player as well, which is also like if that wasn't an option, I would have been upset. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
it is an option. You can offline single player mode play, especially out here where we never have electricity, or out in LA where you guys possibly may never have electricity. Um, Dude, this is a win. Like I mean, mind you, like it still has a ways to go. Like if you look at the the alpha footage that they showed us, like it does need a lot of polishing, but the cutscenes look great and it flows. Like you can tell that they did a good job with the animations. Now they just got to like polish up the textures and whatnot. And then very briefly, we got to see a bit of the open world. Dude, it looks great. Like it's funny enough because it actually looks like a Batman movie. You know what I mean? It kind of reminds me of like the old school like Was it? It was the Tim Burton Batman movies. It kind
Hmm.
of reminds me of like the atmosphere of that, like just looking up and like the weather because you're seeing like this frozen tundra basically
Hmm.
like taking over Gotham, and it looks sick. It's very atmospheric, which is what I like about that. Very cool. And then the other thing I was reading about is like you've got your home base, which what is it? What do they call it again?
The Bat Free or whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, something
Belfry,
like that.
Bat Free.
The Belfry, I think it is, yeah, or the Belfry, or really cool. So you can like you've got this place like which is your home base, and you can like set up all your stuff there, and you get to like see the characters be themselves because they don't have to be wearing costumes. They can be like casual, and you can actually see them without the masks, smiling and not punching people out. So that's it adds a bit more depth to the game, I think, that I'm looking forward to. And the nice thing about this game is that it is anytime you're doing a big open world game like this, is you have the option for so much DLC. Like, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? If that's whether they want to go down that route or not, I hope they do, because if they like, this would be a cool game to have a lot of DLC missions for, maybe even DLC characters. Who knows? Yeah, this is. I'm really excited. I'm glad they announced it. I don't know when we're gonna get it though, and I don't think it's gonna be anytime soon.
Yeah, they said 2021. So people are hoping
Maybe end of next year.
early. I don't know. People were kind of like speculating it'd be earlier in the year, maybe early to mid uh 2021. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two-player co-op thing makes sense though for the campaign because they said they probably will have a four-player mode, but it will be like a not part of the campaign and more of like a wave type of thing. And that makes sense because like even like in Avengers beta, which I thought was a lot of fun, playing four players, even with the two of them being computer AI controlled, it does get very hectic, and there's just a lot of stuff coming at you, and so doing a full-on story campaign, you kind of start to lose sight of what you're doing at a particular time. So, and you can do these co-op moves, special moves between the two characters. I'm wondering though, will they have these co-op moves with if you're playing the same character? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does
How would that work? Yeah.
Batgirl have a co-op? Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Um, but all in all, I think it was very exciting. I mean, we all knew this game was coming. We just didn't know in what form, and I was happy to see take a little break from Batman and just have the Bat family, have it Court of Owls, Death of the Family inspired. Yeah, I'm very looking forward to it. So on the other end of that, we have the Suicide Squad. That is coming out in 2022, and they released a trailer, but the trailer was cinematics only. And in the video that me and Dorian did, I said I was a little disappointed. Not that in what we saw was disappointing, it was just that how much we saw. I was expecting something that was going to be coming out sooner and some more gameplay footage and more details. What do you think about that one?
Um. Yeah. Pretty much the same. The one thing's for certain. I'm more excited about the Arkham game. Well, I keep calling it that, even though it's not really an Arkham game.
The
But
Gotham Knights game.
the Gotham Knights. I'm definitely way more excited for Gotham Knights. Let's just say that for now. But I mean, like you said, they haven't shown us much gameplay, have they? You know?
No, it was just a cinematic trailer, which was good and I
Yeah.
liked it, but
It looks good. Yeah.
I was expecting more, and you see that, from the character, I don't know, you have Harley Quinn, you have King Shark, you have Captain Boomerang, you have Deadshot, but they didn't show any other characters that are playable. I'm wondering if it's limited to those four, and then you have the evil Superman at the very end, which seems to be who you're attacking, but you don't know if it's like is the whole Justice League evil or is it just Superman, and what's going on with that. I
Yeah.
don't know. There's just a lot of question marks. I'm sure Rocksteady is going to do a great job, and we're all going to
It
be
does look good though.
excited
You're
for it.
right.
But
Like
we just,
graphics wise, it does look very pretty. You're right.
yeah, but we just need to see more, I think, and that's why I'm like you. I'm much more excited for Gotham Knights, and not purely just because it's coming out sooner, just like from the world and what we're seeing from it so
Mm.
far. It's just playing a game like that in co-op is, I always love co-op games, and being able to play. I can't. And my thing right now is I don't really play a lot of online multiplayer competitive type games, but if I can play co-op on some sort of campaign, that's like the dream for me.
Yeah. No, I'm just glad we're getting so many co-op games right now in general, because it's always my biggest complaint is that like there are never enough co-op games. There are never enough couch co-op games, and it's like, yes, there are a lot of multiplayer games, but they're
Yeah.
always like these intense esports, like fast-paced, like you can't have like it almost takes all the fun out of it. You know what I mean? Not always, but most of the time it takes all the fun out of it, especially if you like bump into some tryhard or some streamer and then it just ruins your day. Uh, I will say this though, I was hoping for a bit more humor. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But that's just because of like my idea of well, all my exposure to the the Suicide Squad is like fairly comedic. You know what I mean? Like a King Shark. I'm used to him just being able to say King Shark is a shark and not having any other dialogue other than that because that's all he can say. But in this one, he like talks and everything, so it does look good though. So I don't know what to expect. That's the biggest thing I can take away from this is I don't know what to expect. It just looks really good, like cutscene wise.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, surely they should have some gameplay for us soon. Surely, you know.
I would expect at least by the end of the year some sort of gameplay
Mm,
footage. In whatever form the Game Awards takes this year, which I don't think we're going to be ready for any live in-person events by the end of the year. So I would assume it'd be much similar to what what Jeff Keighley just did for Gamescom, which we're going to talk about next, where it's just going to be kind of hosted things and tosses. Probably run some pre-taped clips of people accepting awards and whatnot. So, yeah, let's talk about Gamescom. So opening night was yesterday, even though opening night started, I think, at like 11 a.m. here or something like that. So they debuted a lot of different stuff, some footage, some new trailers. I mean, nothing huge, but it was interesting. I mean, the one thing we got earlier in the week was the Call of Duty Black Ops trailer.
mm,
First it was a reveal that it was called Cold War. Then we got a trailer, and then they showed this cinematic clip that featured Ronald Reagan in it, the Perseus briefing cinematic. I'll be honest, Call of Duty is like a game I used to play a lot when like Black Ops 1 came out, and Modern Warfare 1 and 2 and whatever, and less so now. I played a little of Blackout, but I haven't really played a lot of it since. I think but I feel like Cold War is something I can get into because I really like the story of the first Black Ops. I didn't like how they jumped to the future in the second one, and I just stopped paying
mm.
attention with 3 and 4. So with this one, I feel like this is kind of bringing me back in because it's weird to say because most people are into Call of Duty because of the online multiplayer co-op, or not co-op, but online multiplayer competitive play as seen by Warzone. And I like Call of Duty because of the campaign, and when they got rid of that for Blackout and whatnot, like I just wasn't that interested. And now they did bring it back for the last Modern Warfare. I just hadn't gotten around to playing it. But Black Ops, this is much more interesting to me. What'd you think?
Dude, I'm so ready, so excited. Purely off of like a story point of view, like the
Mhm.
original Black Ops story was the best Call of Duty story ever, hands down, in my opinion. I mean,
Mhm.
I my favorite personally is the original Modern Warfare. Like the original Modern Warfare is my favorite story, but that's just because I have like a lot of nostalgia tied to it. But I would say
Mhm.
from like a writing perspective and like a story perspective, Black Ops was the best story ever. You know what I mean? Which like Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 3, they were still fun games to play, but they did not have that like where you're sitting at the edge of your seat like type of tension for the story. So it's nice that we're getting a sequel to that. You know what I mean? It's a direct sequel too, which I'm really looking forward to. It's set in the 80s, which is fun. I was enjoying the music from the trailer. I doubt we'll have any of that music in the game, but I can only hope so because that would be so amazing just to start shooting people while 80s music plays.
What New Order Blue Monday, a little remixed version for the trailer.
Yeah, there's some sick stuff there. I liked it. Um, Overall, I think it's going to be well received. From so they were showing it to us running on a PS5, at least.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that they are, and it looks great. It looks good. Obviously, we don't know much about multiplayer. They're only going to talk about multiplayer on the 7th of September. I could be wrong on that. It could be the 10th of September. So they're only announcing the multiplayer later. But I believe that they are bringing back zombies for this. So that's going to be the biggest selling point of this game is that they're bringing back the Call of Duty zombies for this Call of Duty. I don't know if the reboot to Modern Warfare, the previous Call of Duty, I don't know if it had a zombies mode. But I
don't
know that
remember.
I know that they are bringing. I don't think it did. So they are bringing back the zombies mode for this. That being said, we'll probably see that when they announce the multiplayer, because it kind of ties in together. So I'm looking forward to that. Like it looked fun. Like what they showed of looked fun with the dune buggies in the like racing around in the sand. Um, and what I like as well is that they said because it's based off of like the whole Spec Ops kind of like stealthy approach. They
Mhm.
did say that there are still going to be just as much loud moments, and they called them loud moments. So it's like, don't worry, there's going to be just as much like noisy, like gunfire heavy moments, just as much as as there is going to be stealth. So it's going to be like a nice dose of both, which is good because when games stick to stealth 100% of the time, it can get very like tedious and boring. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
I only
need
like
yeah,
stealth in small doses.
you need those gun ho moments, dude. But it looks good. And also just like the graphics look good. And it was just, dude, do you know how freaky it was to see Ronald Reagan like full CGI'd out like that?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of when it did it with Kevin Spacey, and I was like, what? Kevin Spacey's in Call of Duty?
Mhm.
that was um that was weird. It looks sick though. I'm looking forward to that. You know, apparently Ronald Reagan gives you your missions, so we'll be seeing him fairly often, which is
The
quite cool.
Yeah, the worldwide multiplayer reveals on September 9th.
Oh, the
I
ninth.
don't,
That's what it is.
but I think they're doing some beta stuff this weekend. I think if like you had pre-ordered, is it this weekend? Let me double check. But I feel
I
like
think some streamers are playing it. I could be wrong, but I think some streamers were playing the multiplayer,
it's
or they were
funny how
playing the
these
game.
it's funny how these games nowadays like will kind of come out of no not come out. We knew they were working on a Call of Duty game. We knew it was in the Black Ops vein, but just like having the launch trailer and having or not the launch trailer, the announcement trailer and the launch be so close together now because like you have the game is coming out on November 13th. That's not that far away. That's like a
Exactly.
little
Yeah, it's
over two
soon.
months and here you have like yeah the beta. Yeah, if you have pre-orders, yeah, I think if you pre-order the game, beta key, I think I'm thinking it's like today or
Because I
something
think
like
I
that.
think I have
But
seen
anyways,
like or at least I know people announced that they're going to be streaming the game. You know what I mean? A lot of streamers. So it's got to be this weekend.
yeah. So yeah, I think I don't know. I wonder if this is going to be a new approach from now, or is it maybe this works for existing franchises and less so for new franchises, you know, like where
Mm.
a Call of Duty, even I mean, I know Gotham Knights is far away, so this one that doesn't count, but they probably could have done it with a Gotham Knights or Arkham game just because it's already a known property. So to get people hyped up and excited, you don't need that long of a window, right? Like a
Yeah.
two
I guess they
months
kind of,
is fine.
yeah, they do the same with sports games as well, kind of, where it's like they announce it like, but that's because it's like you know it's coming. The yearly
Yeah.
version of your sports game is coming out the same time every other year. I mean, last time I think of a studio that announced a game this like close to launch time was Fallout 76.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
now we
but that was a different era.
now that we reflect on that, it was a bad move to release it so early.
Yeah.
But
You
so
know,
Gamescom is happening. I mean, it's happening right now. But on opening night, we had a bunch of different announcements and things that came out. So besides the Call of Duty cinematic trailer, I think they announced the Doom Eternal DLC, the Ancient Gods Part 1. The one thing that I took notice of was Dragon Age 4. They kind of had this behind the scenes,
yeah.
no gameplay footage. They showed some concept art.
Yeah.
They showed some actually locations 3D rendered that you got to take a look at. You saw some behind the scenes of some voiceover work, developers talking about it. So I'm just hoping that that they've learned their lesson from Anthem, and that they're, because to me, Dragon Age Inquisition is like one of my
I
favorite
loved it.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved it, man. It was really good.
I didn't care for the second game. I really enjoyed the first one, but I thought the third one was superior. And I'm just hoping that it stays in that same vein.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Dragon Age 4 kind of? I don't
Dude,
know.
I mean, well, look, they technically didn't they tease this last year at E3 or
They
I
did.
remember, yeah, and it was the same thing where like in this trailer they're showing us those 3D renderings of like some of the locations. That's all they did last year as well, but it was only one location they showed
Yeah.
us. And it was just like just the fact that it's coming is what makes me excited. Dragon Age is one of my favorite series of all time, and I completely agree with you. Actually, I would even go so far as to say that the second game was trash. I would actually go so far as to say that.
I didn't finish the second game because
It was
I didn't
it was
like.
so linear. It was so, compared to like I mean, look, going from Dragon Age Origins, which like I like Dragon Age Inquisition. I think gameplay it's a lot more fun gameplay wise than the first one. But Dragon Age Origin had the greatest story ever, and like just the best dialogue and like dialogue options and dialogue trees, and like it nailed that whole RPG feel of it. And then to go from that to like Dragon Age 2, which was just this incredibly linear. You can't create your character. You just get given some dude, and you got to be this dude or this chick, and you do the story. It was just they were spoon feeding us. I hated it. It was like a slap in the face. And then Dragon Age Inquisition came out, and they gave us Inquisition is just fun. All the DLC as
Yeah.
well. It's a huge game. Like actually, if you get all the DLC and they add in the extra dragons and stuff, it's a big game. So I'm very excited about this. I'm curious as to what they're gonna do gameplay wise because obviously the first game I mainly played the first game. Well, you play the first game in like this top bird's eye view, top down view kind of style, and then in Dragon Age Inquisition you can switch between the two modes. You can either be strategic, like time is paused. You can kind of play it like a almost like a real time strategy game where you're like issuing out like commands to each person, you're letting time slip by, or you can be third person, boom, right there, like just kicking ass. So I hope that they keep that in terms of a gameplay mechanic. Being able to switch between the two is very fun because sometimes you just feel overwhelmed. There's too much things going on. So it's nice to be able to like zoom out, scroll out with my mouse wheel, take a look at the whole map. Um, Very excited about that. We see Solus is returning. The voice actors, oh dude, this just good quality voice acting as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I really hope that they show us some footage soon, though, because they didn't show. Besides talking about it and the fact that they
Yeah.
are working on it, and you can tell that the people working there are passionate and they're working hard to give us a good like quality game. I just want to see something, man. They could have shown
They
us
showed
like
like
maybe.
this tiny part of like a what they call the gray box, which is like where they put when they're testing out the game loop, of combat. They had like
Yeah.
a little part of that, but it wasn't like within the actual environment of the game and whatnot. It was just
Mm.
like a little like here's this testing thing or whatever to see how this works. So but yeah, there's, what else do we got in here? We got to, this was, I was, at first I got super excited and then I found it wasn't anything, which was when Christopher Lloyd showed up as Doc Brown from Back to the Future and he made like a Rick and Morty reference. He's like, I'm not that guy from Rick and Morty. But it ended up being for Surgeon Simulator 2,
Oh, that's great. That's actually hilarious.
So, but I was like, oh my God, they're making a Back to the Future game. I know they had like a Back to the Future Telltale game, but I was like hoping for something like was like even more elaborate than that. But no, it was just that. I'm sure. They have this weird bridge constructor Walking Dead game, which
Yeah,
is
I
weird.
just saw that. What the hell is that?
I don't know. I'm sure it's like more of a um,
I love bridge constructor games, by the way, which is the weirdest thing. I find them very therapeutic.
but
Like it's
just the
just not.
tie-in to
Yeah.
that is weird. Like
Is it like, are they going to be zombies crossing the road and you're going to like build them little bridges so that they can get to the? I don't. What? I'm
I don't
so
know.
confused. Oh
We had the
man,
return of Sam and Max, which
very
I think is
excited
in
about this
VR. I think
actually.
it's in
Yeah,
VR. So, this was a comic book that also had a cartoon series and had some games, and now they're back in VR, which kind of makes sense for this style. You're excited for it?
I am, man, because it's like it's very like choose your own adventure vibes. You know what I mean? I like that's what I liked about the old Sam and Max games. It's very like it's point and click adventure, choose your own kind of adventure. So it makes sense in VR. Like a point and click game in VR kind of makes sense to me because you can instead of pointing and clicking, you can look at it, walk up to it, pick up the thing, interact with it, and it activates the cutscene and so on and so forth. And it's very cartoony, and I feel like it's a lot easier to do VR in cartoon worlds. You know what I mean? It's a lot
It
easier to
is.
render it, and it's less resource heavy.
Yeah, definitely. World of Warcraft Shadowlands. I have to admit, because I don't play World of Warcraft, this was they played a very long cinematic, and I'm sure it was probably engrossing for people who play World of Warcraft and are up to date on the storyline and all that stuff. But to me, like I was just lost. I didn't know what they were talking about. So it was definitely for those hardcore fans that are that keep playing the game. And then after the very long cinematic, which was done in this very cartoonish, I wouldn't even say cartoonish, but like
Well, not
comic
Blizzard,
book style.
not what you're expecting from a Blizzard cutscene or animation
Yeah,
from what they're used to giving you. Yeah.
yeah. And then they showed the trailer of the gameplay, which was fine. But I mean, definitely they're preaching to the choir on these. You're not bringing in new players to this.
No, yeah, this is 100% fan service, which is good because if you're still playing World of Warcraft and you're up to date with the storylines and all the expansions, you're dedicated, you are a fan, you want the fan service. You know what I mean? Like I'm actually tempted to get back into World of Warcraft, but the classic because they released WoW Classic is like its own separate thing. So I was tempted to get back into WoW Classic. It I mean it's lacking. It's a like you said, it's very long, but it's just I don't know if it's because they're not making as much money off of World of Warcraft as what they used to, but whenever there was a new expansion, it used to come with this like super epic, in-depth CGI cutscene. You know what I mean? And now it's
Mhm.
that like I like this like cartoon style that they went for, but it's just not what I was expecting from Blizzard. You know what I mean? But then again, Blizzard's been getting a lot of flack the past like year or more, actually like 2 years, I want to say. So
Mhm.
yeah, they're not getting any new players by doing this. Like you said, they're just this is 100% fan service. This is just them being nice to their old fans and making a bit of money while they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, there was a few Star Wars announcements. We had a trailer for the Star Wars Squadrons game. It was kind of like a narrative and gameplay type trailer. You had the Sims 4 Star Wars Journey to Batuu, which is basically what you can see at Disneyland and Disney World at Galaxy's Edge. That world, so they kind of skim Sims 4, so you can pretend that you're living in the Star Wars universe. They also had the Lego
Kind of
Star Wars, the
cool.
Skywalker saga, which was interesting because I think we covered. We got to check out a demo of that 2 years ago at E3, and just it's one of those things where if you missed all the other ones like I did, I didn't play like any of the Lego Star Wars games that were individual to each movie. This one covers all 9 movies. Like you can go to like all the different worlds that are in all 9 movies and play out the different storylines, and they obviously have their Lego humor to it where they kind of like make you know like not so make fun of Star Wars, but kind of just like make it much more lighthearted. You have any interest in any of these 3 games?
I'm actually taking a look at some of the other stuff that they announced. I'm looking forward. Well, I'm kind of looking forward to Star Wars Squadrons because I like a dogfighter game every now and then. I think I've mentioned it before. I like playing those with a joystick. You know, like it's really, if you have a joystick, it's honestly really fun to play any kind of dogfighter game. Um, I wonder if we're going to be getting what we'd be getting story wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're trying to make a story. I mean, you have, I think it was Leia in the beginning talking about. I guess it's supposed to be post Return of the Jedi. I think I can't remember what the time period is for it. But yeah, because I think you're a part of the New Republic and trying to take down the remnants of the Empire. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm not a big, unlike you, I'm not a big dogfighter. I'm not a big car driving fan. I'm not a big like flight, uh, anything to do with flying type of fan. I like it in spurts, right? Like if you're playing a game and then you happen to have like a couple levels that are in that environment, I don't mind. The weird thing for me though is like it's coming out in VR, which I'm actually more interested in. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to get sick off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about that. You can't do teleport, you know, in these type of games, both driving and flying games. So I'm just wondering if I'm going to get sick playing it. It's one of those things where I'd want to play a demo at first before I'd actually plop down some money into it.
Yeah.
What other games did you find interesting from Gamescom?
They showed some more gameplay for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. It was just nice to see more gameplay, and they basically confirmed that it will be a launch game, will be a launch window game, so it'll be coming out when the PS5 comes out. So it's nice to see that. Spellbreak release date announced. It's going to launch September 3rd with crossplay, which is exciting. Spellbreak, I think I've spoken to you about it before. It's like it's like a wizard battle royale game. That's the best way I can put it. It's a really fun game. I got to like test it out once. The only reason I never got into it was because in order to play it, you had to spend like a lot of money to like get their foundation pack, or it was kind of like you're almost like investing into the company by paying a large amount to play the beta or whatever. And I wasn't down for that. So now that it's actually getting a proper release date with probably a normal price to pay for the game, I'm really looking forward to playing it. Yeah, so September 3rd, crossplay between PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. So that's going to be quite cool. Let's see. Fall Guys Season 2 announced, which is like worth mentioning because it's like all the rage right now. Everyone's playing Fall Guys, and it's what's nice is that because the game costs money, you don't have to. The battle pass is free, if that makes sense. So it's like if you own the game, you're going to be playing through the battle pass and unlocking these costumes anyways. You know what I mean? It's a fun game. It does look pretty sick. Then we saw a game that I know me and Dorian are excited about because we actually got to go test it, which is Outriders. Hold on, let me make sure that I talk about. Yeah, they just showed off a new cinematic trailer, which is sick. Parts of which I'd already seen because we got to test the game in person, which was really cool. That just reminds me. That's actually one of the games that I'm most excited for this year to play is Outriders. It looks like a really fun co-op game. They showed some more Crash Bandicoot 4 stuff, like it's gonna have like the flashback tapes, which I'm gonna assume is just it's like the inverted maps that you're playing. They mentioned a couple of Little Nightmares 2, which was a sequel to like this cute little. I wouldn't really call it cute, but it's like it's an indie game that I enjoyed, so it's getting a sequel. I'm excited about that too. And then oddly enough, Dennis, I'm kind of excited about the WWE 2K Battlegrounds because it looks so
surprise.
silly. I like the Battlegrounds. Like I mean, I've only played.
You gotta get UFC 4 first, man.
Dude, oh yeah.
You'll love the
career
mode.
I'll smash you in UFC 4.
The career mode is actually a lot of fun. It's really like playing like a campaign, really.
Yeah.
For
no, I'm actually I'm about to go and get Ghost of Tsushima because I saw someone selling a copy secondhand online. I'm gonna get that so that we can do the multiplayer when it comes out.
Oh yeah,
and also
you'll
we
love
can
it.
can stream the multiplayer. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to the battlegrounds game because I like any battlegrounds games. Like I've actually played a lot of the previous ones, like the NBA ones. It's silly. It's silly fun. Like it's a game you're not gonna be playing it for like hours. You're just gonna play for like half an hour with a friend, and it's gonna be stupid fun. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the stupid fun of that game. And then they also they announced this thing called 12 Minutes, which I don't really know
Yeah.
much about.
Yeah, they showed
Daisy Ridley, Willem Dafoe,
yeah, so
James
they had
McAvoy.
actually had previewed this game, I want to say last year, but they didn't really show much. Like William Dafoe, James McAvoy, and Daisy Ridley are now attached. I think James McAvoy plays the main character, and Daisy Ridley plays the wife, and William Dafoe does kind of the VO. Those three were not attached to it before. It's an Annapurna game, which is a movie studio, and it's a more of an indie game. It's called 12 Minutes, and it's a time loop where it's like a murder happens at your house, and it's like a weird top-down view, and then you got to keep like playing it over and over to figure out the clues of what's going on. So I don't know how big of a game it would be. I can't imagine that William Dafoe, James McAvoy, and Daisy Ridley are doing hours and hours and hours of
True.
voiceover for it. So I expect the game to probably be a few hours tops. But for me, where I'm at in my love of games, I'm all about like narrative games and storylines and seeing that, and I want to check this out when it comes out. It seems like something that's interesting and different from what we're used to.
Yeah, another game worth mentioning, just because it also just looks like silly fun, is this game they showed called Teardown, which is
Yeah.
just this basically this destructible like environment, and it's you I guess work together to pull off some kind of heist. But like
Yeah.
I honestly I didn't really get much, like watching the gameplay trailer. I didn't really get the point of what you're doing. It just looks fun. Once again, everything blows up, everything destroys. Like I really like that. I like these giant destructive environments that you can that like really shows off the physics as well. So that looks like silly fun as well. I like that.
Yeah, it's like a small indie game where it's almost like this reverse Minecraft. Like it has a Minecraft aesthetic in terms of the graphics, where it's like big blocks, but then instead of building stuff, you're like destroying stuff, and you're using that to like perform heists. So I don't know. It seems like it could be a lot of fun.
Satisfying.
It depends on how it plays. The last thing I want to talk about is the game that I was most excited to see at Gamescom and seeing the story trailer, which is Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, which Respawn is doing in VR. It's going to be exclusive to the Oculus platform. Now it's going to be for the Rift and the Quest, but the Quest really is not. It's not really for the Quest. It's for the Quest using the link cable, because it's basically you download it for the Oculus Rift, and you can play it off your Quest like you can play all your other Oculus Rift games. So you do need a PC. You cannot buy this game separately from having a PC and playing it like that. It really is built for the PC, but you can use your Quest as a pass through. So, but I was excited to see, because I got to test it out.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Yeah, at Oculus Connect 6. Last year, which by the way, they're having in early September, but it's called Facebook Connect now, which some people are nervous that they're going to, including myself, that they're going to change the Oculus Quest name to the Facebook Quest, which I think is a bad idea, because the two don't match. The Oculus, even though it's not as big of a brand name as Facebook, it is synonymous with VR. And calling it the Facebook Quest, I think, would be detrimental to.
That would be. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do
but
that.
But they've already changed the name to the Facebook Connect. They're calling it Facebook Connect, and the Oculus Reality Labs is now called Facebook Reality Labs. So
I saw that, but I think they also. But like you said, who's going to purchase something called the Facebook Quest? Like I think that they're still going to keep the name Oculus for just for that reason. But I do see them pushing very hard this whole Facebook. Because they're obviously going to want to set up their own virtual reality social media. You know what I mean?
Well, that's their
end goal.
Yeah, that's what they're pushing, and they're making it the Facebook account whatchamacallit, required, which they said they weren't going to before.
Yeah, so I mean they're going to be pushing that for like years. Like I don't see that being popular until every single house has a VR system in every single house, you know what I mean? And then it's like, hey, I'm going to go and have a virtual dinner with my grandma or something, you know what I mean? Um, yeah, I do like I think it was a move that I thought would have happened sooner, honestly. Back when Facebook bought Oculus in like 2011. I could be wrong. I don't know when they bought it, but back when they bought Oculus, I expected them to do this brand name like a long time ago. But yeah, I don't think that they're gonna the actual uh, products they're gonna sell. I don't think they're gonna call it the Facebook Quest. It's just if they do, like you said, no one's gonna buy it. No one's gonna buy it. Like it's like like it's just like seeing the Facebook logo on a VR system is already like off-putting enough for me. You know.
But in terms of the game, it looks great. Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. It looks like a full on, like a lot of the VR games that you see nowadays. Some of them are cool, a lot of them are fun, but a lot of them are very short, or you can tell like they're kind of like putting some resource into it, but not a lot. Where this game looks like it's a full on. We're gonna treat this like a AAA title, much like Half-Life Alyx was, and this game is my most anticipated VR game since Half-Life Alyx has already come out, and it just looks like they've thought through the mechanics of the game and how best to use VR to enhance the immersion. And they're talking about there's no cinematics in this game. It is purely everything you see is through your VR lens, and they're telling a story while also working on the gameplay mechanics. But anyways, it just looked great to me.
Yeah, that was the one where you said that you could actually like take the grenade, you could roll it on the
Yeah.
ground, throw it like I remember you, Jack, and Dorian talking about that and saying you guys had a lot of fun playing that game. So, and that was what? That was like a year ago, pretty much, like more than a
Yeah.
year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you guys said it was a good experience back then. So it could, at this point in time, it can only be more polished. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's coming out in holiday 2020, so before the end of the year. We don't know what date, but they just said before the end of the year. And cool, because I've been looking for a big AAA. Not that I haven't been having fun with VR. I've been playing some VR games, and they've been fun. But I don't know. I feel like VR, in order for VR to take the next step, they need to have these Half-Life Alyxes, these Medal of Honors, these like big games. We know Rockstar's working on one of their whether an existing property or a new property for VR, and so I want to see these big properties on VR.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be good, man. It's like you said, it's the first thing we're gonna get that's this like big since Half-Life Alyx, you know?
Yeah.
And I think we're now like it's gonna be that slow snowball effect where it's like now then there's gonna be another AAA title game on VR next year, and before you know it,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a thing where we're getting like numerous AAA titles on VR a year. It's gonna be that slow snowball effect where we're gonna see a lot of studios because now they know that it's gonna be worth the money. You know what I mean? I mean, at least I guess we'll see. It was a different story with Half-Life Alyx because that obviously tied in with the Valve Index sales, and
Yes.
they were producing those in America in their own factories using their own factories that they own. So they were saving a lot of money and making a lot of money. But if Medal of Honor is successful and makes a lot of money, then obviously a lot of other studios are going to go, hey, we should do it. And also like it's getting to that point where a lot of people are starting to get VR systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If not
I think.
high end, at least starter.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you get the high end, the middle class, and then you have Quest, which is like the barrier, the consumer entry level, which is actually the one that's taking off the most. Unfortunately, we haven't had like a AAA title on that yet, and I don't know when we will, just because of the limitations of the technology right now for standalones. So, um, anyways, that's it for me for Gamescom. Do you have any other last things to say about Gamescom or any games you saw there?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway for me is I'm just really disappointed I didn't get to see more Dragon Age 4 related,
Mhm.
or like at least something, just something a little bit more. You know what I mean? Show
Mhm.
off like a bit of like maybe not like too much. Like I mean, they showed off some animations towards the end of the trailer, but I was hoping for like some at least some combat animations or like one or two character models. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it sounds silly, but I just want to see like hair, for instance. Like what would they, well, like what's their hair gonna look like? Because in my opinion, the hair looked great in the previous game. It's a weird thing to talk about, but like the skin, like the bone structures, the skin, the hair look really good in
Mhm.
Inquisition. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna do with this game. And just story wise, lore wise, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I really hope that they give us like another just breathtaking story, you know? Because that's what they do, a good job of telling good stories.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next thing. The Fortnite crossover Marvel. It's
Oh yeah.
a chapter 2, season 4 ultimate crossover with Marvel Nexus War. For I watched the trailer that kind of showed what was in the update, and it looked very cool. I'm not a Fortnite player, but these type of things I feel like are what keeps fans interested, because there's always something new, and something like this is huge. You can get people who are not even Fortnite fans just because it's a Marvel related. That you can play as some of these characters and check out the weapons that they have and whatnot. What's your take on this?
Dude, it is fun. It is like I actually have a very interesting take on this because it's one of those things where it's the most fun Fortnite has been since it first came out, since it was like the
Oh,
first,
really?
not I'd say the first, it wasn't the first battle royale, but like the game was fun when it first came out because there was nothing else like it at the time. You know what I mean? Now the game is, I'd say the most fun it's been since it originally came out, but it's a double-edged sword because it's like with all the things that they just added into the game that made it so much like that makes it so much more fun. I can see it making it a lot more difficult esports wise, and I don't mean difficult like you got to be better at the game. It's just like you could on like I have a feel they're probably going to take out like if they're going to be doing any esports tour like they have a lot of tournaments going on, but for tournaments I can see them removing a lot of these features that they added in just for the tournaments to keep it fair, because it's like imagine you're doing amazing, right? You're like you got yourself, you're 18 kills in, you know what I mean, you're just smashing it, and then out of nowhere this dude shows up who's got Dr. Doom's gauntlets and he just blasts you in the face and you're dead, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which by the way, Doctor Doom's gauntlets are the coolest thing in that game. Like when you pick it up,
Hmm.
you're not really okay. You're pretty overpowered. Like, dude, I was just smashing people with that thing. It's like there is quite a good amount of balance because what it is you get these superpowers, but you pick up the items, if you will. Like you get the
Yeah.
person's gauntlets, or you get the person's book, or you get the person's axe, or so on and so forth. And it comes with these powers that you use. They had this in a previous uh, Fortnite event that they had with Marvel, where they tied in Marvel for the first time,
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
it was a lot of fun, but it was too OP. And now it's like they've at least balanced it a bit more, where it's like I
Hmm.
bump into someone who's using special powers and I can still kick their ass as long as I
Hmm.
know, like, because most of the powers are like splash damage. They're not going to be like too accurate. So as long as you're able to like, oh, I think a storm just started. As long as you're able to duck, dodge, and weave, you'll be fine.
Hmm.
Uh, go like in terms of the battle pass, it is the best battle pass you've ever gotten because you're getting so many Marvel characters, like
Hmm.
which they're doing their own comics. I don't know if you know this. Like it's
Oh, no.
because I was curious to I'm gonna at least this is how I think it went down, because with the battle pass you're getting Iron Man, you're getting Thor, you're getting Storm, you're getting Mystique, you're getting Wolverine. I could be missing someone, but those are
She-Hulk, and
you're
Doctor
getting
Doom.
She-Hulk. Yeah, and I
Doctor
don't
Doom.
think you get him as a character. I don't think he's a playable
Okay.
character.
Okay.
He's in the game though. I think you have to like defeat him to get his gauntlets or whatever, but I don't know if he's in the battle pass. But the point is that's already a lot of Marvel characters to be giving away in a battle pass. Whereas previously it's been like it'd be like a huge deal just for them to have Deadpool in the game, or a huge deal for them just to get Aquaman in the game. You know what I mean? Or Captain America. So for them to give you 5 Marvel characters in one thing, I was like, how the hell could they do this? With licensing rights and stuff. And then that's when I realized if you look at the characters, they're all their own unique take on that character. For instance, Thor doesn't even look like Thor. He looks like a beefy Legolas. He literally looks like a beefy Legolas from Lord of the Rings. So it's like very rebranded. They kind of like redid all their costumes and they're releasing their own comics. Like you can find the comics throughout the game and actually read it in your like launcher. There's like little comics that it tells the story of that version of She-Hulk or that version of Thor. You know what I mean? So you're getting a lot out of the battle pass. It's just fun. Like straight up, I've been having a lot of fun with it so far. I think I played my first four games. I won my first three games out of the first four games, just because there's like not because I'm good, but because of the influx of players coming back for this season. Like so, obviously there's a lot more like less skilled, less advanced players out there that I'm killing. But dude, it's honestly it's loads of fun. Like I'm very happy with it. It's worth the money. It's just yeah, like I said, I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with this because it's one of those things where like the maps are changing slowly over time. We had like these shadow and ghost agencies previously. Now they're like each week the map kind of changes. So now they're emptying it out. I think it's like those offices are going to become shield offices because you have like the whole flying. Spawn Island is now that flying shield base that you see in all the Marvel movies. That's actually your Spawn Island. You're on there. There's a Tony like what I here's one of the other cool things about the game is you're playing as the characters, right? And then you know how like, Fortnite has emotes and has the dances and stuff, right? So you get the character Tony Stark. You unlock the character Tony Stark. You get to play as Tony Stark. And then the way you be the like usually in this game, if you want to be Iron Man, you got to go select Iron Man as an option. You know what I mean? Like I want to be the Iron Man style right now. But it's not like that, from what I can tell. What it's you use an emote to turn into Iron Man mid game, and then you can play as Iron Man, which is just like a nice little function they added in. They did it the same with all the other characters. Each character has its own unique emote that you can unlock through the battle pass, and like it's cool stuff, man. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I missed.
Well, okay. In the trailer, not the trailer, whatever the explanation, they show that Galactus is coming. So I am
Yeah,
assuming that at the very end of this
it's gonna
season,
be a big live
Galactus will
event.
arrive, and everyone's gonna have to fight Galactus together. I don't know how many per server are there usually of people. In one
100,
particular. Okay,
like
so I'm
on
assuming.
average 98. You know.
Okay, so I'm assuming they're gonna be like, all right, we're gonna have Galactus come on this day at this time, and then it'll be this big event where everybody per server is just gonna gather together and just start fighting Galactus to maybe not kill him, but send him away. That's just my
Yeah.
assumption.
They could give out like more powers, I think, because from what I could tell, it's not like the power you're not gonna have like two guys running around with the same superpower. I think it's like there's only like four, maybe like in the previous season they had legendary weapons and you have to go and fight these bosses in game for them to drop their legendary weapon. You can use it, and it's the same with this where it's like you got to go defeat Doctor Doom to get his gauntlets, or but there's only one in that instance in that game. You know what I mean? But Galactus is coming, and I'm curious just to
That's
see where
gonna
that's
be
going to go. There's going to be a huge live event at the end of the season. And like I said, the map changes each week. And currently, I can see that Tony Stark is putting up these um, solar panels all across the map. No one knows what the hell they're there for yet. You know what I mean? But there's like these solar panels all across the map. So they're going to turn into something. We're not too sure yet. There's this cool part in the map where the Sentinels, which are these giant robots that used to hunt down the mutants in X-Men from like the comic books, there's actually like like a part where you can go into the map where they had this epic fight and they're like all lying on the ground destroyed. So where people are assuming that they're going to repurpose those giant robot parts into something else, because the game does that a lot where it shows you one thing then it tends to repurpose it into something else.
Yeah, they're showing the Sentinel hands that you can use as jumping
You
platforms.
can jump around in them. Yeah,
So
they,
perhaps they will get rebuilt at some time.
they brought a lot of the old school stuff back, which I'm happy about. They brought back porta-forts, which is just basically a grenade kind of thing you throw down that instantly puts up a fort for you to use or get into. They brought back some traps. There's a couple things that they brought back the pump shotgun, because the previous season they turned the pump shotgun into like a charge shotgun, kind of like a charge, like a pumped up water pistol, but it's a shotgun. And people, there was a love-hate thing. People loved it and hated it. So what they did was they added, you can still, both are in the game, and you can, if you have the charge and you don't want it, you can go to an upgrade station and you can change it to the pump, and vice versa. So they've added that back in, which is cool. A couple, yeah, they've added a lot of little things back in. I'm excited about. And then they put in cars towards the end of last season, and the cars are working out really well as a way to get around, and just like not get shot because the cars have quite a bit of health. But overall, it's a really fun season. Like, and I haven't been able to say that about a Fortnite season in a while. I play the game casually, so I never tell people, "Hey, look, you should play Fortnite," because I just play it casually. It's a free game. Why not? You know what I mean? But this is one of those seasons where I'm like, if ever you were thinking of spending money on a battle pass, now is when it's the most worth your money ever. You know,
How much is the battle pass?
$10. And if you finish it,
$10.
you don't. Yeah, if you finish it, here's what happens. In a battle pass costs you 950 V-bucks, right? 1,000 V-bucks costs you $10. If you finish the battle pass, you usually get back 1,500 V-bucks. So it's kind of like you're getting your money back essentially, because as long as you finish the battle pass, or at least get up to like, I want to say level 75-ish, you get the money back in order to spend it again on the next season pass. On the next battle pass. So as long as you finish your battle pass, you're never spending money. You're just repurposing those V-bucks that you're getting back, you know?
All right, let's move on to the next. Resident Evil Netflix show details. It's it's finally confirmed. They've been talking about, there's a Resident Evil series being developed at Netflix, but now Netflix has actually confirmed it, and that it says the brand new story is going to be across 2 timelines. In the first timeline, 14-year-old sisters Jade and Billy Wesker are moved to New Raccoon City, a manufactured corporate town, forced on them right as adolescence is in full swing. And what is the other one? Second timeline, well over a decade in the future, there are less than 15 million people and more than 6 billion monsters, people and animals infected with the T virus. Jade, now 30, struggles to survive in this new world while the secrets from her past about her sister, her father, and herself continue to haunt her. So it's interesting that they're going with this kind of past and future storyline.
Yeah, it's going to be jumping a lot, obviously, which is like, well, depending on who's directing it, that can either be a little too jumpy or it's going to work out perfectly fine. From my perspective of my own filmmaking knowledge as an actor and filmmaker, it can be when you're dealing with 2 different timelines telling that one story throughout like a season, you can screw it up so easily. You know what I mean? It's very easy to screw up telling those 2 timelines. Whereas like if done correctly, you can really build so much suspense and curiosity by jumping between the 2. And it's like, well, this happened here, so this is why this happened in the future. You know what I mean? And to tie the 2 in together, it does make it a lot more exciting. It does put a lot more on the director's plate. Did they announce who the director is going to be? I don't think so.
They said that there is someone. I don't know if it's a director, but there's someone behind it. The showrunner and writer Andrew Dabb, who also worked on Supernatural, and the director Bronwyn Hughes, who's done Walking Dead, is directing the first 2 episodes. So people are saying that perhaps it'll have a Walking Dead vibe to it. So
I like how they said that it's in their adolescence, like the midst of their adolescence. So obviously, it's like there's like the slight coming of age story aspect to it as well, you know. And I like coming of age stories. You know, they're not told as often. They used to be told way too much in the early 2000s. Every single movie was a freaking coming of age story. Every single indie film was a coming of age story. But now it's like we don't really get those stories nearly as often as what we should. I think, you know. It also helps. It also opens it up more to the younger demographic.
Yeah, I just hope they don't go too
teeny with it, like Teen Wolfish. You know,
I know people will take this as an insult, but like I actually do like some CW shows, but it's too CW. You know, like But anyways,
Yeah. Was
uh,
Supernatural CW?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the one CW show that I really enjoyed.
I mean,
um,
I'm not saying the CW shoes are bad, but they have a similar aesthetic and they have a similar like. There's always like this love triangle or love quadrant, like square or whatever going on. You know what I mean? Like you have Flash, you have Arrow, you have, you
True,
know,
yeah.
you
Well, then
all
again,
have.
actually, that's a lie. I guess Smallville was also CW, and Smallville's
Yeah.
my favorite TV show of all time, like hands down,
I watched the
right next to
first
Entourage.
four seasons of Smallville. Once Lex Luthor, Michael Rosenbaum left, then I stopped watching because he was my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's honestly the best point to stop watching. That's when the show gets boring, in my opinion. The first four seasons are just the best. The fifth season's still kind of fun because I think that's when they introduce Aquaman, who's played by Thad from Blue Mountain State, which I is hilarious. But yeah, no, I can see where your worries are, and I think because it's coming from the guy who did Supernatural, I think we're not going to get that as much. But I think in terms of the relationships between characters, I think we are going to see a bit of that like CW kind of cheesy love triangle stuff. But it's going to be like mixed in with a good amount of suspense and like horror, you know?
Uh, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, we've been saying for a while that like video game movies and television, you're gonna get good stuff. It just takes time. Just like comic book movies and comic book television took time. Video game movies is the same thing, and we're gonna start seeing them slowly and surely, and then next thing you know, it's gonna be its own genre into itself, much like the superhero genre. Next one we've got is Microsoft Quadruple A Studio, the initiative, have added some more top talents from Bungie and Crystal Dynamics to their team. So this is like this, you know how like Microsoft has been buying up studios like Ninja Theory, Obsidian, and all these other
Yeah.
ones to get these exclusive games for this generation of games, but they're a little lagging behind. They also formed this quadruple A studio that has all these like they have the God of War lead producer and the lead writer in Red Dead Redemption and the Sunset Overdrive director Drew Murray. Like they're trying to build this awesome studio that's supposed to be like the best big studio. And the thing is we need to see we need to see something fairly soon because by the time they get their shit together, like who knows if the console war is already done for this generation. You know what I mean? Like Microsoft is lagging behind already when it comes to exclusive properties. And maybe they
What an
do come out
interesting
with
pick
it.
of people as well.
I don't know. I mean, they all sound like these high end top talent. It's like one, can they work together? And two, what game are they making? Are they making one game that's just this awesome game that like you have to play? If so, that's great. But then at the same time, you need to have more than just one. You've got to
Yeah.
have multiple franchises, as Sony has proven with their PS exclusives. So
You need your quadruple A games, and then you need your normal triple A games. Apparently,
yeah,
with this
you
studio,
need something. I mean,
they're gonna
what do
have
you think
one.
of
Yeah, they're gonna have
what do
one
you think of this?
quadruple. I think. Look, they're just this is hype. That's all they're doing. This is just building hype. I mean, mind you, that it's not like an announcement. This is just what people found out looking through LinkedIn and stuff. The First of all, good. I mean, is it considered headhunting? Who knows? I'm not too sure. But the fact that they got Brian Westergaard from God of War, that's already like that's a big win. You know what I mean? In
Yeah,
my books, that's a big win. Then you got the lead writer from Red Dead Redemption. That's also a big win. I think those
yeah,
two people could, in theory, work very well together. And then what threw me for a loop was Drew Murray from Sunset Overdrive, which, by the way, I loved Sunset Overdrive. It's one of my favorite games to play. I got it on PC recently because I didn't own an Xbox, and it's really fun. But it's also like such a very different game from Red Dead or God of War. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
very different. So I was like, it's a very interesting choice, and that's what leads me to believe that it can't just be one game that they're working on,
It's got
because
to be
that's
more than one.
it's three different. It's like the red, like dude, the guys from Red Dead and God of War, they can work together on something epic together. You know what I mean? It's the producer and the writer. I can see that, but then it's like you've got the director. So you've got your producer, you've got your writer, and you've got your director. In theory, they are working on one game together. You know what I mean? You've got these three top. But like what? What could it be? What could they do that hasn't been done already? You know what I mean? Like, because there's nothing new under the sun. So it's I don't know. It's a good hype building strategy, but it also leads me to like have some questions about what the hell's going to happen to God of War's future. Because as far as I could tell, Brian Westergaard was set on to do like another two games. You know what I mean? With well, it's Santa Monica Studio.
Yeah.
Did they buy Santa Monica Studio, or just did they just headhunt from there?
I don't know, but the Santa Monica job listings for this studio. So I'm assuming that this new studio is in Santa Monica. I just don't think it's the same.
The Santa Monica Game Studio, which is
Yeah, they called this the initiative, and it's based in Santa Monica. So
mm,
we'll see. Anyways, I think that's just some interesting news. I just hope they're not too little, too late in this generation. Next
yeah.
up, we have Captain Tsubasa, which is a game that we got the code for that you have been playing. Why don't you tell us about the game itself, what it's about? It's weird. When I first read it, I thought it was. I'm not familiar with the anime, so I thought it was something like Jump Force or whatever. But it's actually a soccer anime,
Yeah.
football in the rest of the world. How's the game and what is it? I'm obviously there must be like these special different moves. It's not FIFA, right? It's something else.
Oh yeah, no, I managed to play the game for quite a while yesterday. I was supposed to put out a review for you, but then I had some unfortunate family emergency. Um, but regardless, played the game, and it's first of all, like you said, the biggest thing to consider when playing this game is that it's not FIFA, it's not Pro Evolution Soccer, it's not a soccer sim. It's more of a soccer arcade game. Like if you ever played like old school soccer games on like the old Sega World Cup 96, like old school, like those kind of arcade soccer games, you'll feel more comfortable playing this. Obviously, it's a lot more newer than that, but it has the same like kind of buttons and feel to it. It reminds me a lot of sport games on the Nintendo Wii when like the Nintendo Wii was pushing sport games very heavy. It reminds me a lot of that. Like I'll start off with the story. First of all, it offers two story modes. One is following Captain Tsubasa and his like rise to glory, all the different leagues that he battles, and like essentially becoming like the best soccer player in the world. And so you get to play along that storyline. It follows the manga, which by the way, if for those who don't know, Captain Tsubasa is a manga from the 80s, which was adapted into an anime, which was adapted into various video games. The previous video game came out 10 years ago, so it's been a long time since they've added a new game to the franchise. But it's very fun. It has like a nice arcadey feel to it. And when you're playing the story mode, they do this thing where it's like every time there's a new match coming up, like there are new characters. Because look, it's a huge anime slash manga. It's a huge universe. There's so many characters that get added all the time. And if you had to get every single character's backstory, that would kill the game for you. So what they did was they gave you a second option where it's like every time a new character gets thrown at you in the story, you can actually pause, go to your like logbook, and there'll be cutscenes there, like individual cutscenes for each character, telling you their backstory, where they came from, so that it really like can build up the hype for that match you're about to play, and you know what's at stake, really. You know what I mean, like or emotionally, if you will. Really cool. They do these things where it's like, depending on how you play, it'll activate instances, and this is just in the storyline. It'll activate instances which activate cutscenes from the anime, where it's like if you have certain players playing in certain positions, it could trigger a cutscene from the anime, which it does this cool thing where it shows it to you, and it doesn't affect the gameplay. Like if it gets triggered while the enemy has the ball, you're not going to have the ball after the cutscene. Like everything goes back to literally where it was right before the cutscene. It just shows you that cutscene. So it's not really jarring because it's only in the story mode. It's not happening when you're playing multiplayer with other friends. So it does a good job of that. It kind of reminds me of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, where it's like instances where it's, once again, if you do something that happened in the anime, it's going to reward you by showing you that cutscene. You know what I mean? So they do a good job of that. The second story mode option, which is what they recommend playing after you've played Captain Tsubasa, which is create your own. You get to create your own soccer player, and it's about his rise to fame and his rise to stardom. Um, and then yeah, gameplay wise, like I said, very arcadey feel to it. It's not gonna the one place the game is lacking is in the dribbling. Like when you're dribbling the ball back and forth, that's pretty much all there is to it. You're not outskilling players or anything like that because they have a function where it's like you click R2 to dash. You're not using it to run. It's like a dash. It's like a quick dash thing you can do. You can dash into people to steal the ball from them, or like dash into them to like get past them. Or for instance, it has a specialty bar, so it's like you each like other characters are gonna have like special moves, like because obviously like the anime, like any anime is this like over the top super dynamic kind of cutscenes, and it's like they're doing things that aren't physically possible in real life soccer wise, so they show you these cool cutscenes as well by doing these special moves, which you'll do in game just by being at the right place, like scoring a goal and using the right character, and you get to it does these cool cutscenes. Another thing I like about the game is that they use one of the things that's difficult about any anime related game coming to like a video game is getting that that's getting that 2D feel in a 3D setting. So what they did was they did like a nice a cell shading technique, which we've seen in a lot of games before, but it works really well with this. Like it looks 3D, but at the same time it looks very 2D, especially when they go into like the specialized cutscenes. And yeah, overall it's a lot of fun. It's not something that like I can see being people playing it competitively, but in a party setting, it's a lot of fun. And if you're a fan of the anime series or the manga, you're gonna love it because it's just retelling you the entire story. So yeah, just it's a good arcade game. It's one of those. I feel like personally, the game would have been a lot more successful had it come out like literally like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Because it has that like old school arcadey feel to it.
Cool. All right. The next thing we've got up here is the Lord of the Rings Gollum trailer. So they had a trailer for this Gollum game, which is an interesting take. You know, we already had like Shadows of Mordor and all these other not Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings games, which are, you know, more like action heavy, combat heavy. This is supposed to be more of like a stealth game a la Prince of Persia. And there's not a lot of combat in it. It's more about you getting Gollum to, you know, whatchamacallit, why am I blanking on the name? I've seen this movie so many times. Why am I blanking on the name? Probably because it's like super hot here. But the Eye of Sauron. Mount whatchamacallit?
Mount Doom.
Called Mount
What I like about this is that they literally tell you you can choose Smeagol to be good or choose Gollum to be evil. So it seems it did you play any of the previous Lord of the Ring games, the Shadow of Mordor and the Shadow of War?
Just the first one. The first one, and it was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, the first one actually had a mission where you bump
Mount
into
Doom,
Gollum. Yeah, Mount Doom. There was the first one actually had a mission where you bump into Gollum, and it was such. I think it could have been DLC. I'm not too sure, but it was such a memorable moment in the game that I was thinking to myself, I was like, eventually they're gonna have to do a Gollum game. It's at a certain point in time. So I saw this coming from like a mile away. I actually thought that they would have announced this a long time ago. But I like the idea of it. Like I said, I don't really enjoy games that are stealth all the time. But in a setting like this, I love Lord of the Rings. I'll do it. You know what I mean? I'll do it for the story. And it's a lot more high stakes because it's like usually when you're playing these stealth games, you're like this deadly assassin. You know what I mean? In this stealth game, if you get caught, you're gonna die. There's no way Gollum's gonna win in a fight against anybody that's like bigger than him. You know, unless he really fights dirty. So it looks great. That's for damn sure. Like it looks beautiful. I'm interested as to see like how what the gameplay is gonna be like. You know what I mean? Because they didn't really show much. They didn't show any gameplay, and I think it would be interesting, like because Gollum is such like a mentally warped character. I feel like they can have a lot of artistic freedom in the gameplay and like how he thinks and how he moves and how he perceives reality. You know what I mean? And how he sees the world. There's a lot of like room for them to play around with that, which I like.
Cool. All right, last thing real quick. This was just for fun. This guy on YouTube, let me get his name. So
Wait,
to give him credit.
did I send you this on Facebook?
No, I saw it randomly.
I think I tagged you in it on Facebook.
Maybe.
Super
Super
Louis
Lewis.
64. Is it
Yeah,
Super Louis or Super Lewis?
I don't know.
It could
But
be
either way,
It could be Lewis or Louis. Yeah.
Either way, he got this katana controller that was meant for
PS2.
Omnimusha 3, the sword controller, and he put his PS4. He modded it so that he could play on PS4 with Ghost of Tsushima. So if you go to check it out, just look up the katana controller Ghost of Tsushima. You can see him using it to actually play as Jin, fighting all these people using the swords. It's actually looks like it's quite fun. I don't know if I'd do this for the whole game, but it just seems like kind of a mix between what a VR game would be, but but not, without the actual VR headset, but the VR controls. What do you think of this?
It reminds me of No More Heroes, which was one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Wii, which involved a very similar mechanic where you had to use the Wii controller to activate your katana. It's just, dude, like crazy. It's honestly just like I'm more curious to how he got it set up than the fact like of how it works, which is cool. I'm looking at it right now, and the controller itself is sick. Like the way the buttons look on the control. I can't believe I've never heard of this. Like not just now, but because what this came out. This was for the PS2. Like how have I never heard of this katana controller that was like built for the PS2 or PS3 or something like it ages ago? Dude, that looks crazy. It makes me think of the guys who will like beat Dark Souls on a fishing controller, or like some kind of weird obscure controller. Like I can see this guy streaming him playing this game from start to finish and getting a lot of followers on Twitch,
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it's cool, but at the same time, I wouldn't put that much effort into doing it. You know what I mean? Like all the work that he put into to modding it so that he could play it on there. I'll leave it to someone like him to do it, so I can watch someone else doing it. But I'll wait till one day when they have Ghost of Tsushima in VR, and I'll play it that way.
Yeah. Hey, if anybody's watching, give this guy a like and a subscribe because this video's got like almost 150,000 views and he's only got 3,000 subscribers. Let's get this guy to 10K.
Yeah, it's more of a viral thing. All right, I think that's it in terms of news topics. I know Gamescom is still going on right now, and there's still stuff coming out for that. I've just been playing UFC 4, playing the career mode. It's a lot of fun. I haven't got to the UFC yet. I'm still in like the minor leagues. I just like that aspect of it, being able to, from training camp, it's just, there's all these RPG elements where you learn new skills and you upgrade your character, and you can get new outfits. And so it's much, they've taken a very RPG like approach to this career mode. I think once you get it, you'll love it. But
what's your social media following?
Yeah, you should play Ghost of Tsushima first. So
where are you at right now, Dennis? You're at half a million followers.
I should get a high one because I just fought my first fight in I forgot what the name of the minor league setting is called, but this guy like challenged me. I was gonna fight him, and then he got injured, and they asked me like, do you want to take a last minute fight, or do you want to, or a last minute opponent, or you want to wait for this guy? I'm like, no, I'm waiting for this guy. I'd like train for this guy. I like paid all these like points to watch his like tape and boost up my skill, and I decided to wait off and fight someone else. I took on someone else, trained, so I basically had 2 training camps. KO'd this guy in like 30 seconds and beat the F out of him. And so like it got on like social media. So I think my social media will rise
Start to
from
grow
having
now, yeah.
this viral kind of a shareable fight and ending KO. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm gonna keep playing that, and I've kind of put God of War on hold for now, just so I can play that. What about you?
Um, I've oddly enough had like a really big craving for RPGs, but like the type of RPGs where it's all about customization and loot grinding, you know what I mean? Or like I like playing RPGs where it feels like you can see the progression in your character in the way that he looks, you know what I mean? In the items he's picking up and the stuff like that. That being said, I'm not exactly playing a really good one right now, but I've been binging Fable 3 for some reason. I think it's
Because
because
you heard about the new Fable,
yeah,
that's why.
it has to be, man. Because like ever since then, I was like, you know what? I really want to play a nice fantasy RPG. I don't want like some intense RPG. Like I just want like a nice casual fantasy RPG. And so I started playing Fable 3. It was between that and playing Dragon Age Inquisition for like the fourth time. But I was just too lazy to install that with all the DLCs. It was too big of a file. So I was like, screw it. Let me play. I think I have it like, yeah, I've got it on disc, the Fable 3. So I've been playing that, which is good. A lot of Valorant and currently like a lot of Fortnite because like I said, it's been fun. It's still my go-to game in terms of like casual. It's like I play the game very casually. I know a lot of people don't. The people I play with sure as hell hate the fact that I play the game casually and don't take it seriously. But yeah, no, I've been playing a lot of Fortnite, a lot of Valorant, and some Fable 3. Oh, and I've been playing this amazing game called Maneater. I don't know if you remember when they announced it. It's that like
Yeah, I heard.
GTA shark game.
Yes,
Like,
yes, yes.
dude,
Yeah,
it's
everyone's addicted
crazy.
to that.
It's
People are
actually really
addicted to
fun.
it.
Yeah,
Cool.
like I've been playing a lot of that. It's just been fun swimming around, chowing people up, slowly growing as a shark from like a baby shark to an elder shark. And the game is crazy, dude. Like you unlock like electric fangs or like poison fins, and it's like an RPG. It's freaking. I like it. It's so over the top. I've been enjoying that.
Nice.
Oh, by the way, I finally got control working on my computer
Wow.
because I've had it for a while now, but I haven't had it. I couldn't get
You
it
have to.
working.
You
It
got to
kept
play
like,
it, man.
yeah, I don't have the DLCs, which is unfortunate because I just saw that they released. Yeah, I think they just
The
released
ultimate edition. The
the
ultimate
Ultimate
edition.
Edition. Yeah, and yeah, man, it cost the same as what the edition that I just bought like a week or two ago. So that sucks. But hey, at least I'm finally gonna play it. I'm looking forward to that
Cool. Let me know what you think on the next podcast.
for sure.
Well, where can people find you? Have you set up your social media yet?
No, I have not. I still need to do that.
Cool.
But yeah, like I said, all I got is the name so far, and I just need to change everything. My Twitter, my Instagram, all that stuff.
Cool. For everyone else, you make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Subscribe to our podcast feed. That's the Collider Factory feed for this podcast and interviews and reviews. You can follow me on social media on Twitter at ThinkHero or Instagram Dennis.tzng. Until next week, hopefully Doran will rejoin us next week and talk more because we're getting back into the season where big games are going to start coming out.
Yeah.
So. I think next week Avengers is going to be out, Madden's going to be out, all kinds of big games coming. All right, until
If
next
not,
week.
yeah.
Yeah.
If not, you
What's up?
guys will see. I was gonna say, if not, you'll see me and Dorian on the channel streaming. We played some Apex last week, right after the podcast, and we managed to get a win on our second game, which was nice. It
Nice.
was my second game of the first of that season. We got a win, so we'll be playing Apex on the channel fairly often. So you'll see me and Dorian there.
Cool. All right. See you guys next time.